DARPA has a spin-off little organization called ARPA-H, which is
Okay.
DARPA for healthcare, because that's great too,
Wait,
huh?
wait. Say that again. Well, now we're
ARPA.
live. We're live on YouTube now. Welcome everybody. Sorry, there was some
Oh,
technical problems. Go ahead. So what, just
okay.
say that again.
DARPA has spun off its healthcare branch, its health-focused branch, to
Uh-huh.
a thing called ARPA,
That's right.
Advanced Research Projects Agency for Health, right?
For health.
2022, that's
Hmm.
been around.
Perfect.
And they have determined that certain things are critical to national resilience, competitiveness. Remember when Trump stood out there with, oh, who did he have? Larry Ellison and Sam Altman, and said
Oh
AI
yeah.
is the pathway to the future?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Wasn't it
That's some of
Stargate?
this, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is some of this. So some things are now critical to our infrastructure, and they have determined that biotechnology is not a product, it is a part of our infrastructure, which
Wow.
means they can regulate it, they can force it, they can do whatever they want at the government level to mandate this stuff. It's not going to be just a product. Like, they're not going to sell this to farmers. They're just going to do it. And there will be no, because it's infrastructure.
Yeah.
This is an infrastructure improvement. This is where all roads lead together. Do you remember we talked a lot? The very first thing that we talked about years ago now was land grant people.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember farmers that ceded their property into these land trusts
Mm-hmm.
would lose control? They said, oh, you can stay and farm, but we're going to control what you do with your wastewater. We're going to control it. All those people totally vulnerable to this.
Wow.
All right. DARPA has a program significantly called TELUS,
Mm-hmm.
TELLUS, Tell Us, right?
Right.
It's an interactive platform for rapid design of microbe-based sense and respond devices for monitoring DoD relevant environments. Ponder that statement for a minute.
Say that again.
So the TELUS program
Mm-hmm.
is an interactive platform for rapid design of microbe-based sense and respond devices for monitoring DoD relevant environments.
Wow. So DoD prepared environments? What?
It just
Um,
says DoD relevant.
interesting.
So they can make,
Mm-hmm.
for example, and I looked some of this up, they can make microbes that'll like glow in the dark if there's radiation, right?
Yeah.
So they get immediate feedback. They
Right.
don't have to have other kinds of sensing devices.
Mm-hmm.
Those sensors can be monitored from a drone or a satellite. They can detect if there are explosives that have been
Mm-hmm.
buried in the soil, which would be a great thing when they have, when we're looking for landmines, you want to know those things.
Right.
But they have, so part of this is to establish the range of chemical and physical symbols that microbial devices can detect
Mm-hmm.
that tell us about environmental conditions. And those environmental conditions can be anything, like a good use, like I just was describing, like, oh, there's been a radiation here, or there's
Mm-hmm.
explosives or whatever. But keep in mind, none of that is about crop health, which is
Right.
how they're selling it right now,
Jeez.
right?
Everything's the opposite. If they say health, it means not health. If it means everything's the opposite. I don't know what else to say. It's like we're also, by the way, if you're just joining us, we're talking about what's in our soil, and of course I'm getting messages, smart dust, all kinds of messages too. Um,
Probably.
but they are utilizing our food supply for a lot of things that I don't think, besides fake meat, but it just goes so far beyond that, I think, of the ingestible, what comes together in components in our body. Because remember, the future of medicine, as they announced in 2020, was that a doctor will be able to do what a doctor needs to do and you don't even have to go into the office. They'll just be able to tap into you. So how do they do that unless there's things in our bodies that would make that DoD compatible? There you go,
Well,
relevant.
Even
Anyway.
and right now they don't have the technology to read our actual bodies unless
Mhm.
we have an implanted chip or whatever. And people are
Mhm.
resisting that. People don't want that.
Yeah.
But what happens when they put a sensor on your wastewater in your house?
Mhm.
And now they can tell whether you've got the bird flu
Right.
or you've got whatever you've had. They could set up monitors, microbial monitors, and they're doing this already.
Mhm.
They have already been monitoring airline wastewater as it comes into the country with microbes
Mhm.
to determine if someone on that airplane has had influenza A or B or COVID.
Which
Or
means it's all the same to them because it's all the same symptoms. But go ahead.
well, that maybe
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
conversation we've
Right.
had many times over.
Right. Right.
But you can monitor what's in people's gut
Mhm.
by monitoring wastewater. And you wouldn't even know that it was happening. What happens when they put a monitor at your wastewater surveillance at your municipal wastewater and they say, oh my gosh, the city here or this neighborhood,
Mhm.
we know somebody in there has got COVID.
Right.
So we're going to lock you down because you've got COVID in there. You know,
Yeah. I think
this is
I think
so
you're onto something.
they're talking about this as a planetary biosurveillance grid because everything is going to be made to surveil
Mhm.
everything. Now we have the dirt itself is going to surveil us.
Mhm.
You know, all of us are saying, oh, you know, they're putting bad things in our in our food, so
Right.
we're going to grow our own until they tell you you can't, and the actual ground itself will tell the lie on you. They can tell whether you're growing, the possibility exists because they said these microbes are so flexible
Mhm.
that we can set them up to monitor anything we want. Now, do you remember we did a story a long time ago, a while ago now, about bacteriophages?
Mhm. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Phages, right?
Yeah.
Why do we need this? We already have
Mhm.
things that were God made
Right.
that can cure us. Remember, Larry Ellison will be able to make vaccines just for you. And I'm like, they can already do that. They already have
Yeah.
phages in the world,
Yeah.
but they don't want to invest in phages. They want something different that they have made. And honest to goodness, I can't
Mhm.
tell you any other way to describe this except these people have a significant God complex.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
They can make the world better than God made it.
Mhm.
In
With
fact, I think I have a quote here somewhere.
with names like Larry Fink.
Well,
Yeah.
this particular quote, if I can
Mhm.
find it,
Okay.
is from Yuval Noah Harari, who's just about as bad.
Yeah.
And he says something, I can't find it right now, that essentially we have the ability to create life. And I'm like, well, I can't say the word I actually said.
Mhm.
That would not be fit for family.
Well,
audiences.
well, do you think they're always competing? They're always competing with God to do what God does. So it gets really interesting. It's kind of like the transgender thing. It's like it's like
It's all the
they
same.
have to mess with creation, right? And so they have to mess with purpose and creation and all of those things. So it comes back down to how can we appear to be God, but for nefarious reasons. So everything, it seems like, goes back to that. It's like stems to that on goals, right? So they decide
It's
life and death, they decide gender, they decide, not God, right?
correct.
Yeah.
And I was just talking with my husband earlier today, and I said, we all need to go back and read and ponder. It's such a short little story in the Old
Mm-hmm.
Testament about the
Right.
Tower of Babel. And everybody's,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's about when God confounded languages. Isn't that a cute little story? But go back and reread it again. What were they actually trying to do? And look at the sequence in which they did it.
Right.
First of all, they built lots and lots and lots of bricks. They didn't even have a plan with what they were going to do with it. They just made a lot of bricks.
Yeah.
And then after they had all the bricks made, they said, gee, wouldn't it be fun? We could, with all these bricks that we've made, we could build a big tower and we could go talk to God as equals.
Yes. Yes. That's
So
exactly what they've been after. Yeah.
we've been watching them build bricks for a while. And now they think that they're close to being able to talk to God and be God. They're going to meet God as his
Yeah,
equal. We
competing
can
for
create life
power.
on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yep.
have the ability to give life or take life as we so choose.
Right. Right.
So I actually think that that's a hopeful thing. And here's why.
Why?
Because God didn't take it lightly the last time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do pray for a flood sometimes. I'm not kidding.
Well,
I
ours
do.
may look different. Might not be a flood, might
Yeah.
be an EMP that stops it.
Right.
Because what the heck are they doing? This
Mhm.
is, they're trying, it seems to be that they're trying to build
Mhm.
a planetary scaled
Mhm.
biosurveillance grid that will sense and report on environmental conditions everywhere, on everyone. And we don't even have to, you know, you got to give them some credit. People don't want a chip in their hand, so they're figuring out a way to get around that.
Mhm.
People don't want, we want to have the illusion that we're still free.
Right.
But what we're actually creating is a digital twin. It's transhuman, it's trans biological.
Mhm.
So that what we're left with on the earth will not even be, it will not even be created things anymore. It will all just be synthesized somethings that are partly biological but completely controlled.
Hmm.
Oh, so Ginkgo has this lovely thing that they call bioradar.
Okay.
So does that sound like crop improvement? Bioradar? I don't think so.
Oh my gosh.
Bioradar is their surveillance stuff. And so
Uh-huh.
Palantir figures prominently in this whole thing.
Mhm.
Palantir has already established partnerships with the CDC and the NIH and the DoD
Mhm.
to integrate biodigital signals into their intelligence gathering and decision making.
Okay.
But Palantir has the AI platform. What they don't have
Mhm.
is they don't have the data platform right now. They don't have the biosurveillance. So that's where bioradar comes in. And that's where the microbes figure. The microbes are the data gathering things
Right.
that will be fed into the AI, and then AI will rule us all. One ring to rule us all, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why Ginkgo brought on board Palantir's guy,
Mhm.
that Shyam Sankar, to be chairman of their board, because that's the fusing of both the data and the AI thing. It's just ugly, Kate.
Yeah.
It's just ugly.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't know. I don't know even how to fight this one,
Hmm.
because we won't know that it's there. And what they also don't know about these things is whether they can, when these kind of bioengineered things meet with the natural world, what will
Mhm.
happen? How will those two interface? Will these bioengineered things just like take over? Will they suddenly be incorporated, just like what are they called? Terminator seeds that were sponsored by, they're
Of
the
course.
yeah, Terminator seeds. I'll be back.
I have to laugh or I'd cry. So go ahead.
Well, if you've been following agriculture for a while,
Yeah.
which I live in the Midwest, so it's kind of
Mhm.
a subject. I have a farming family too. Terminator seeds. It used to be that farmers would save a certain portion of their corn every year
Mhm.
as seed corn to plant the next year. And then, excuse me, the agriculture people
Mhm.
said, "Hey, we can do it better. We'll improve your seeds."
Mhm.
But while they were busy improving yields and improving the product, the ear of corn, they also bioengineered into it a terminator gene, meaning you can't keep the seeds from one year to the next. They won't reseed. Many of us have had that experience. You get a really pretty pumpkin for Halloween and you pull the
Right.
seeds out and you think, oh, we'll just plant some of these seeds next year in our own garden and we can grow our own pumpkin. We did that
Mm-hmm.
and we had a lovely plant and it would bloom and it would put on a little pumpkin and then the pumpkin would dry up and fall off. It was not fertile. It
Right.
was not a,
Right.
and it's a terminator seed. It's not able to reproduce itself. So will that happen? Will the microbes that are normally occurring, and by the way, each
Mhm.
person on the earth, we are the inheritors of a microbiome
Mm-hmm.
that has been in development ever since the first people walked the earth, right?
Right.
The microbiome in our own gut is, I hate to
Mhm.
say it's a hereditary thing, but it sort of is. We inherit the microbiome from our mothers when we're born, most of us.
Uh-huh.
And so what happens when we wipe out the normal microbiome of human beings? How will they be able to reproduce that? Or once it's gone, it will be gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
We're now at the threshold of biology and biological engineering and technology where we can produce things that
Mm-hmm.
will eliminate whatever has come before because it's so much superior.
Right.
I'll put that in air quotes. And then the thing that has developed over the last 5,000 years of history will be gone. So the thing that just bothers me so much
Mm-hmm.
is the complete disregard for the ethics of this.
Yeah.
And a complete disregard for testing its safety. I'm sure it'll be safe and effective,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also sure it's not going to be safe or effective
Right.
because it never is. Anyway, Gates Foundation is funding this
Mm-hmm.
because we're not worried about, and they're going to sell it to us as climate change. We can't continue. And
Right.
they're right about some of this. We can't continue to use heavy doses of fertilizer that are making our soils sterile already.
Mm-hmm.
But in the name of regenerative farming, do we really want to introduce bioengineered microbes as a replacement for what we've already stripped out of the land?
Right.
That's a big one. That's a mouthful.
That's a big one. Yes.
And who's talking about it?
Well, I don't know that people are going into a lot of depth. We know there's problems. We know there's problems with the food supply, but I just don't think that it's discussed really ever in detail. Do you know what I mean? It's not. You're never going to get the real details. Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure that they're going to tell us the real details.
Yeah. I mean, we can try to, scope it out and investigate, which we will, but as much as we can. But really, the whole key is going to be it's really going to be like creating our own food supply, but also using soil that is going to work for us too. Do you guys remember when I interviewed Pat, the fighter guy? And he actually, I think it's called Soil Saviors. Soil Saviors with an s.org, and he had the soil product that he was doing that turns everything into like fruits and vegetables on steroids, but it's safe and amazing, and he's gotten a lot of pushback for it too. So there's I think there's a lot of different things that we're going to have to really do our homework on this, because it's not just going to be growing a crop for ourselves. It's going to be the foundation of it, the base of it, the root of it. I mean, not to
And that's the
pun.
thing.
Yeah.
Microbes have the capacity to
Mhm.
cross lines
Right.
and infect other things.
Right.
So some of this is also linked. I want to make sure people understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of this is also linked to their desire to eliminate animal agriculture. Because animal agriculture, when a farmer puts manure on his
Mm-hmm.
farmland,
Right.
which we don't like because that gets out into the wastewater, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but that's one of the sources of those microbes that help the soil. There are lots of things that farmers do to improve,
Mhm.
cover crops and manuring and organics and a lot of things. And now we're saying that there's one solution to that.
Mhm.
We're going to get rid of the animals. We're not going to allow them to. We don't need those. We're going to eat fake meat, remember?
Yeah.
And they're going to know whether you're eating real meat or not because they're going to surveil your wastewater. It's a complete system of
Mhm.
monitoring.
Mhm.
How about bio barcodes on our food?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
these things, they can monitor your
Mhm.
trash.
Mhm.
If you put the wrong thing in your trash,
Right.
they're going to know.
Right.
So
Here's a comment. We fight this on our knees with gratitude to God, and then listen. By the way, and I agree. The texting number and calling in number is 435-680-2503. Yeah, we get on our knees and we start asking what to do because it feels and it's going to seem like they've got it all sewn up. But I often think that there's so many holes in their plan too. Otherwise, they would have done this eons ago. So there's got to be holes, right? There's got to be things that we can do to fight this, or we can do to help ourselves. I always think that they don't have total control because there's no way that they could. I don't think.
I on that comment, I want to kind of pivot the conversation because I don't
Okay.
have so much time left.
Mhm.
So I want to talk for a minute about gratitude. This is the week before, that we're in
Right.
Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
And I want to just tell about something that I did personally.
Mhm.
You and I, and Susan, all three of us, we deal with some dark things sometimes. And
Mhm.
I have been reading books that I had to put down. I was reading Whitney Webb's 2-volume work on Jeffrey Epstein.
Mhm.
And in the second volume of that, I thought, I'm swimming in a sewer. I can't read any more of this. I had to put the book down and say, maybe another time, maybe another day. But
Maybe
I
another
don't.
decade because I
Well,
can't listen.
I was like, I get the point.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see where this is headed. I
Uh-huh.
understand what she's saying. I
Mhm.
don't need to swim in this anymore.
Mhm.
So anyway, I took on a challenge with a couple of family members to do a 30-day gratitude challenge
Mhm.
because I felt like I was getting very negative in my outlook. Everything was bad. Everybody's corrupt. Pedophiles are everywhere. And
Mhm.
I don't think that any of that has changed.
Mhm.
However, 30 days of gratitude changed me from the inside
Okay.
because the people that I deal with on a regular basis
Mhm.
are not those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I love my husband. I love my kids. I
Mhm.
love the people that
Mhm.
I attend church with. And there are some things in the world we can't change.
Mhm.
So, as I did that, my rules for myself on my 30-day challenge were I was not going to repeat something I was thankful for,
Mhm.
and I was going to do it in writing every single day for 30 days.
Right.
And I shared it with, like I said, a couple members of my family. And it was an interesting experiment. And what I noticed at the end of the 30 days
Mhm.
was that when things begin to feel dark and hard and gloomy,
Mhm.
I was able to reach out for something I was grateful for that would help dispel some of that.
Right.
And and I didn't look for big, profound philosophical statements of gratitude. I wasn't looking for, I'm so
No?
thankful that I have a wonderful husband. Although that may be true,
Mhm.
I was glad that my husband did the dishes.
Right.
I was glad. I have been glad for things like the other day. So my husband and I have been doing this. He's getting ready for surgery next week.
Mhm.
And I would ask the audience just to remember us in your prayers for his surgery to be successful.
For sure.
But he's anxious, and I
Mhm.
said we need to do a gratitude thing every day. So
Mhm.
I've been sending him a note like, "What are you grateful for today?" So he sent me one back. "What are you grateful for today?" And I said, "I'm grateful for windows and central heat." And he said, "Why is that?" And I said, "Well, I have bird feeders attached to the outside of my window, some of those like cling things.
Uh-huh.
And I said, I can sit inside my warm house with these lovely windows and watch birds come right up to my window every day. And I told him, I said, birds are barbarians. They are so mean to each other.
Serious?
And oh, they are. They're horrible to each
Okay.
other. And I said, and it's makes me happy to watch that. It makes me happy to feed the birds. It makes me happy to watch them come. It makes me happy to track which birds are here. I've been waiting and waiting for a certain type of bird to reappear at my feeder. Just saw them yesterday or the day before for the first time. They're migratory birds that they winter in northern Indiana. And so when they came, I'm like, oh, winter's here because the juncos are back.
I love
But
it.
it's not the big things. If somebody brings we're going to Thanksgiving with my my in-laws, and my mother-in-law will make her deviled eggs, which are to die for.
Okay.
And that's enough to be thankful for. I'm thankful she's going to make those.
We're getting really down to the simple things of life. And that is the truth, though. I mean,
it is the truth.
Yeah.
But if you only think about it periodically, I don't think it works as powerfully. But if you do it every single day, you will notice. And I after I did this, I was in I think it was my son, was in a car. I think it was I had just finished this, and my son was in a car accident, and he destroyed his car. And he called me, or he sent me a note. It was on Halloween a year ago. And he sent me a picture of his car all smashed up. And I said, this is a Halloween prank, right? And he goes, no. And in that moment, it was just so kind of crushing. I'm like, oh my gosh, he was in this horrible accident. What do how are we going to fix this? What are we going to do? How's it? And you can feel the panic. And in my head, I immediately felt this: find something to be grateful for right now. What are you grateful for? And I thought, I am grateful he walked away from that accident unhurt.
Nice.
I'm grateful that the other guy walked away unhurt. All that was damaged was a car. That's just it. It was a car. That's not a bad, it's not a good thing. And I couldn't change anything, but just seeing, I hate to call it a silver lining because it sounds so cliched and so stupid and so trite. Well, but, as we watch the world get weird and dark, find the things in your life that are right underneath your hands to be grateful for. And there's so much of that. And in fact, I'm actually quite grateful for every single week I have to wade out into the sewer to find things to talk about.
You're welcome.
Well, but it's kept me informed. It has.
It does. It really does.
It keeps you informed. It keeps you on point.
Yeah.
It keeps my mind engaged, and it keeps me thankful. I'm so grateful that I'm not one of them.
Right.
I'm not one of the bad guys. I'm not. Even though I'm not a perfect person, I'm not one of them. I don't want, I know who God is, and I know where he fits in my life. And I'm not claiming that I can create and destroy life like God can. So it's a good thing to just be grateful. And, Thanksgiving, it seems like my mom, my kids are always like, oh, when grandma came, she always made us hold hands and we had to go around the table and everybody had to say something they were thankful for. And my kids think that that's really dumb. They thought it was really dumb. And frankly, I did for a long time too, until I actually tried 30 days worth.
And then
now I'm like,
it made sense.
Well, and I've had to do it again. I have had to do it again when I notice that my mental framework begins to get dark. I have to go back and say, I need to do 30 more days. And just reaffirm that life is good, that I have heat and windows and birds. And I do have a great family. I do have great opportunities in my life. I'm thankful that I get to speak truth on a program where other people can join me. So all of those things are good things to be thankful for. though, don't let microbes in the soil destroy your happiness, because there's nothing we can do about it anyway.
Well, the way I look at it is this. I don't think we'd be on Earth. I don't think we would have been sent to Earth. And I do think this life is a lot of testing ground to it. I don't think we would have been sent here to fight for our free agency and for liberty if there wasn't a chance that we could have that. So I don't believe that that these people that think they're in control and think they're godlike, I don't believe they have complete control. And I say that because I go down a lot of rabbit holes, and so does Melissa, right? So we all,
Yeah.
and so does Susan. So we're going down all these rabbit holes. And yes, it feels like every single thing is a lie. But at the same time, I also am very aware, and maybe that's due to spirituality and understanding this world and our lives and why we're here, is that we wouldn't have been sent down here if it was all sewn up. So, and even from the beginning. So there's always hope. There's always miracles. There's always things that can happen. We need ingenuity. You know, I was, Melissa, I was watching this, or really looking at this, the system that they had created in New York, where they used the tunnels, or not tunnels, they used tubes under the ground, right, for to send mail through the city, right? So they had these tubes, kind of like the ones you get at the bank in the drive-through, and they had a whole tubal system down there. They still do, that worked to send things underground, right? And I was thinking, boy, that's kind of interesting. Wink, wink, for the future, like things that we could do maybe and set in place that would help us in the future. And so I'm thinking about all these things, and we just have to get a little smarter. We just have to realize that we need to not just look at all the things they do to us, but what we can do to fight it, because I know there's a lot of answers. And they were pretty ingenious when it came to trying to figure out another way to communicate, another way to do things, right? So there's always a way.
I had an interesting thought as I was reading about the microbes too,
Okay.
that why are they so anxious to surveil everything? I don't think it's about controlling us. I think
Mhm.
the elites in this game regard common people,
Mhm.
I've said this before, as we're like dairy cattle. Here,
Right.
vaccinate them,
Yeah.
spray them with what they need, and leave them. They'll whatever.
Mhm.
But it occurred to me, they're so anxious to surveil everything because there is a war among them
Mhm.
over who will control everything.
I think so too. I think there's factions. Yeah.
There's
for sure.
factions inside the
Mhm.
elitist groups
Mhm.
that they need to surveil.
Mhm.
If there's radiation, they need to surveil to see who's
Mhm.
loyal to
Mhm.
to them. They need to surveil. They need to control because they do not have control.
Right.
And that's also a very encouraging thing. They're not ever going to tell us that,
Mhm.
but we have to get better at reading the tea leaves.
Yeah.
We really, really do. We have to get better at saying, you know what? They're working so hard to sell us all on this.
Mhm.
It can't be what they're saying it is. But if it's not that, what is it then? And I really do wonder if there are
Mhm.
forces inside that are battling one another for control, and they don't have that control yet.
Yeah. I think
And that's a good thing.
they would have done things. They would have had it
Differently.
sewn up a long time ago too, if they had complete and total control. If you think about East Germany and the Stasi state that it was in, the pure communist state that East Germany was in, and what did they have, like 13, 14 million people, somewhere between that and 18 million people, but they had about 200,000 people that were informants. So don't be the 200,000 people that are the informants. So, I mean,
Right.
honestly, because they had to rely on the informants, because they could not sew it up to complete tyranny without those informants, without people. So don't be the people that do that, right? So we've got to make sure and educate so that we're not turning into those people. I mean, look what happened in COVID, so it's a
Well,
big warning to
we
us.
need to kind of remember that if there is war internal to the
Mhm.
controllers,
Mhm.
then this is a three-part war. There's us, the common
Mhm.
people, the ordinary people,
Mhm.
and then there's factions among them.
Right.
And that means they're not so powerful
Mhm.
and they do not have the ability to completely control, because there's people even they don't have under control that are similar to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we need to remember our own power and our own ability. And
Mhm.
the thing that they cannot, unless they lobotomize everyone, human
They're working on
creativity.
it.
Well, they are. They're trying
Have
hard.
you been to a women's rights march? Go ahead.
Well, I've seen some of TikTok as well. So there you go.
Wow.
But but
Yeah.
we have to remember that human
Mhm.
ingenuity and human creativity,
Mhm.
AI, so many things are begin. You know this too. You do this research for long enough, and pretty soon you have your own beautiful mind board with string on it, right?
So
And
true.
you're connecting dots. But if I read the research about brain science,
Mhm.
AI is so completely, I think, is left-brained. It's the
Mhm.
rational part that
Mhm.
can't see the big picture.
Right.
We have to be that creative side that sees big picture, even if we don't have the voice to give it expression as eloquently as we would like. We do have that power, and AI does not have that power.
Yeah.
AI is they see things in packets of information. It sees
Mhm.
things in, discrete units.
Mhm.
That's what our left brain does. Our right brain is this big thing that stands back and says, "But look how gorgeous all the trees are,"
Right. So true.
and we need to be that side. And we need to
Mhm.
remind, the weirdos of that as well.
Mhm. I
I mean,
know. Have
so
patience.
well, I do. I agree that ultimately some of these things will be solved on our knees, because there's just no other way.
Mhm. And
And
which means we have to be an extremely godlike people in order to receive those kinds of blessings. I think we need to turn to God, get on our knees, like the text says. We have to be those people that are expressing that gratitude and that humility all the time and trying. And I think miracles will come. They always have through history. They always have.
they
So,
do.
yeah. Even
And
in a
then we have
flood, even when they had to flood the earth, because who knows what was going on with DNA prior to the flood, where God felt like He had to wipe it all out. So they weren't it wasn't redeemable at that point. He just had to wipe out, and there still was a miracle of Noah. So there's still miracles that happen all the time.
and we're not
Yeah,
in that place yet,
yeah.
where the entirety of all of humanity is so
Hmm.
wicked that it's only down to one family.
Right.
Let's be grateful that we have friends and
Hmm.
networks and people who think like us, even if we're a small minority.
I agree.
We have the power
Hmm.
within us to appeal to God, who we
Yeah.
may have to go through hard times to get there.
I firmly believe that they control all of Hollywood and all of Congress. Okay, I firmly believe that. And after looking at so many twinners in Hollywood, it's bizarre. But anyway, there's that whole rabbit hole. But what I'm saying is they control Hollywood, right? They control the people that a lot of us look up to. Okay, not saying all of us, because I don't think we really, I think we can kind of see through it. But what I'm saying is that they control those, but they don't control you and your house, right? They don't control your children, okay, like they control Hollywood. So they have control in certain areas. They can do certain things, but they obviously do not have control over every single aspect yet, right? So, or I don't know that they ever could have everything. So there are holes
There for
for
sure
sure.
are.
Hmm.
And we just need to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
We've got to be as smart as they are on
Hmm.
our own terms. Nobody, I can read a book still,
Hmm.
and they don't know what I think about it,
Exactly. See? Yeah.
because so far
Hmm.
they can't do that unless I tell them, and
Right.
which is why I think things like social media exist, because they want to know what we're thinking.
Hmm. You're right.
We blab it out there all the time. which I do that too. You know,
Yeah.
I absolutely blab it out there and I don't care.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm with you on that. I'm serious. I just want us all to remember that as we sit around the dinner table and you've got your leftist relatives and you've got your everything in between and maybe some that agree with you and it gets kind of dicey and crazy. But at the end of the day, look around that table because that's your people. No matter where we're at on the spectrum. Well, there's several spectrums, but no matter where we're at, um, that's your people, and we have to make sure that those relationships are there because it's just vital. It's vital to us succeeding, especially like neighbors and friends and family members. This is how we succeed. We succeed with each other. So we have to make sure and form those relationships. There will come a time when having a job or trying to make money is going to be extremely hard unless you join the augmented group of people. And we're going to have to make choices. You know, we might not be able to fly. There's going to be a lot of hardship and sacrifice, but it still doesn't mean they have complete and total control, right? So
They still can't control
Yeah.
what I think about a book I read.
exactly.
And if that book happens to be
hmm
scriptures,
yeah,
or if
Yeah.
it happens to be the Federalist Papers,
hmm
or it
Yep.
happens to be,
the Constitution,
or even if it happens to be Jane Austen,
right?
they don't know. They don't know.
What's in your
They
head?
don't
Mhm.
know. So I'm a big believer, as you know already,
Yeah.
that books have the ability to change people in ways that nothing else can.
hmm
And I think even if you have leftists sitting at your Thanksgiving table, you will find common ground with them in mutual disgust at the state of politics in the country.
hmm Yep. Yep. There's going to be something there. And just like I said yesterday, be curious and ask questions rather than just walk away as a defeatist because, you know, they are who they are. They say what they say. Ask them questions so they have to dial back. The one way that I learned, because I started out as a dipwad in politics and in government, okay? A complete and total dipwad. So the only way that I shifted into let's find out overdrive was when somebody kept asking me questions and I had to explain how and why I felt the way I did. And then as you're speaking, it doesn't make sense. So then you start to try to make sense. And that's when you teach yourself. You start going down those rabbit holes and you start understanding what's going on. That is the way to get people to finally learn. It isn't going to be screaming at them or telling them because they're not going to listen. They go into defense mode, but it is going to be, let me ask you more questions so that you can explain why you feel the way you do. And once they start voicing that, it doesn't make sense. They can't. So, you know, unless you're talking about the truth. So there you go.
I do see that Susan has joined us, so
Awesome.
I will sign off and
Thanks,
wish everyone
Melissa.
a happy Thanksgiving.
So appreciate you. Thank
and
you.
Please do keep me and my family in your prayers.
You got it. We
for the
will.
next couple weeks.
For sure. Amen to that. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to play a song real fast because it's, you know, Adam Sandler turkey song and I play it every year. Here we go. While I switch out some things for the show, hold on just a second. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
It's good. Love to eat the turkey like a good boy should. Cause it's turkey to eat. So good. A turkey for me, turkey for you. Let's eat turkey in a big brown shoe. Love to eat the turkey at the table. I once saw a movie with Betty Grable. Eat that turkey all night long. 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Turkey, turkey dee, turkey, turkey dap. I eat the turkey and I take a nap.
I love it.
Thanksgiving.
You know what? I play it every year, so I have to do it this year too. And welcome, of course, not back, but here we are. So I've got Susan up, and hi, Susan. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great, Kate. How are you?
Excellent. It's been a minute, so I'm glad to have you back. And I also just wanted to mention Cardio Miracle is the reason I feel good today. I am taking it twice. I actually took it 3 times over the last 5 days-ish, 3 times a day. And I did not get seriously ill. It was really nice. So I am telling you, it is a lifesaver. And I don't know why I didn't look at doing that sooner. When I did it once a day, it didn't do anything. So I stopped. And when it said with the word cardio, I was like, what? Me and cardio don't mix. So I'm not out there running, or I'm like the anti-runner. Anyway, it is definitely a miracle. And I am telling you, you will feel better. If you have inflammation, if you have, I don't even care what it is, try it, because it's going to get those minerals into your cells. And that's the most important thing. So we are heavily depleted. So go to cardiomiracle.com/Kate. And then also allfamilypharmacy.com/Kate. This is the week. This is the big sale. This is the big sale. This is the one you take advantage of, because you're going to get such a deal on everything that you order. Ivermectin, fenbendazole. There's also one which starts with an M, and I can't think of what it is. But if you go to the page, you can just scroll down, and it is if you got a toothache, it actually helps with the toothache. It actually helps with inflammation. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, just these are good things to have on hand. You can order some antibiotics so that you have them for bartering if you don't use them, or you can use it, whatever. So allfamilypharmacy.com/Kate. They get sent to your door. It took about 5 or 6 days to get them. And it was such an easy, streamlined process for me personally. So all you got to do is order, and they'll come to your door. These are doctor prescriptions. So I love that. They have them in house, and the doctors anyway. And anyway, it's awesome. So please take advantage of that right now, because this is their biggest sale of the year. What can I say? allfamilypharmacy.com/Kate. This is where you can get rid of your parasites and everything else that you need to order. All right, Susan, let's go. I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Well, after we start talking about it, you may not be as thrilled, but I think it's an important story. It's really important.
Okay.
And it is about an online terrorist cult called 764 that is targeting children.
Okay.
And it is, the way I found out about it is I watched Ryan Montgomery being interviewed on the Sean Ryan show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 5-hour interview. So I thought, I'm not sitting through 5 hours. Well, I'm so glad I did. But this part starts
You did sit through 5 hours?
Yes, I did. This part starts at about hour 4. So you can skip ahead to the 4-hour mark.
Okay.
But Ryan Montgomery, for the last 7 years, has been fighting online predators of various kinds.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a new kind of predator that they have now said is a terrorist cell. It's a terrorist organization. It's been designated so by the Justice Department because it is literally reaching into children's lives through computers, and it's getting kids, these members are getting children to kill themselves. So there was a story, this interview with Ryan Montgomery just happened, and it was just posted a few days ago. But the timing was good because on October 16th, a man in Germany who is accused of luring children worldwide into, they call this a sadistic online abuse network. Was charged by German prosecutors with hundreds of crimes, including murder, for a 13-year-old American who live streamed his own suicide. So I couldn't figure out if the 13-year-old was a girl or a boy. It turned out the person was transgender. That's why the stories made it seem so confusing. But he used a pseudonym called White Tiger, and he was only 21 years old. He was German Iranian, and it's this manipulation and exploitation. So we've heard before about these exploiters who say, "Send me a picture of your privates or your nude body," and then they start extorting them, usually for money. And Ryan Montgomery said he actually had a family member who was 13 extorted this way, and he told him, he said, if you don't pay them money, they're not going to send this stuff to your family members. They don't benefit from doing that. They just want the money. So just ignore them. If you make the mistake of doing that, tell kids to then ignore these people. But the 764 cult actually started by a 15-year-old during COVID. So all these teenagers were home, right? The schools closed. A lot of parents had to work.
Right.
These teenagers were home alone. So anyway, he figured out that he could get people to start doing things to themselves. But before I go into the originator of the cult, let me finish with this most recent one. So Germany, everybody is shocked. Most parents haven't even heard of this yet. So if you want to talk about something at Thanksgiving, talk about the 764 cult, because most people still haven't heard about it. This guy was targeting kids between the ages of 11 and 15, convincing them to kill their pets, to harm themselves by cutting the number 764 deeply into their flesh. So there's, watching Sean Ryan, who was a CIA operator, but also a Navy SEAL, watch his reaction to things that were being shown on his own screen. We couldn't see it, but he was shocked. He was like, oh my gosh, he was horrified. And you go, okay, this is something new. And what you realize is, how can this possibly work? How is this possibly work? It's because parents think their kids are safe. One of the big ways they're getting in is an online game called Roblox, ROBLOX. And it just looks like a very simple online game. How dangerous can it possibly be? But there's other communities. There's community ways that people get invited into these smaller groups, right? And the child is sitting right there on his iPad. The adults are sitting next to them talking at the table. You don't think your child is at risk, right? It boggles the mind that you think your child is at risk, which is dumb, because that parents are we're just naive. I'm naive. I'm a grandparent. We're just naive. Part of it is the denial. We don't want to think things like this exist. Right. And that denial is really a way that our brain helps us survive reality, right? And it keeps us in this bubble of whatever.
Yeah.
But we have to take this seriously. And it's interesting because Ryan Montgomery, he tried to get attention to this. He was part of a vigilante group, which was doing good things online, trying to expose predators. And he said it was only after something he did went viral that he could get police involved and federal agencies involved. He says no matter how hard he tried before then, they didn't care. They didn't take it seriously. So now you have a dead child because they looked into this dead child who was found hanging at a park. And they went back into their social media and found this. And then they went, wait a minute, how big and wide does this go? And this guy in Germany targeted almost 30 kids. And so they're charging him now. And this just happened in October. So we've heard, about panic. Remember the satanic panic of the 1980s and all of that stuff. And then it's like people like to pretend that everything is mental illness, but it's not. There's a lot of evil in the world. So they describe this group, 764, as a nihilist group, meaning the members believe nothing matters. So your life doesn't matter. Children's lives don't matter. Nothing matters except the enjoyment they get out of creating destruction and chaos. Now that sounds very satanic to me. And that just happens to be the basis of what Satan chooses to promote. But
Mhm.
so this is not just,
Right.
oh, these people are mentally insane or mentally ill. No, these are really dangerous people. So the Hamburg Attorney General said the act exceeds human imagination, that you would coerce. So that is part of the power of evil, is that the goodness around it can't comprehend it at first.
Mhm.
So it does us no good to be naive, right? And so
Right.
now it's just starting to hit all the major news media. And ABC News finally did a deep dive on it and said the FBI is investigating hundreds of suspects who may be young online predators. So one of the advantages of this recruitment is to recruit more predators, and the predators themselves are underage. Now that is terrifying, where
Right.
you have figured out how to hack into the brains, because essentially that's what it is. For those of us who've been following Chase Hughes, who created, kind of the Bourne Identity prototype of how to hack somebody's mind, he said this stuff is real, and you ignore it at your own, to your own demise. So the FBI also, this is November 18th, arrested a 21-year-old man in New Jersey who had taken a bizarre mix of concerning actions tied to online extremist network known as 764. He allegedly tried to blackmail teenage girls into sending him sexually explicit images of themselves, and then planned on launching a terrorist attack. So as soon as they say terrorist attack, I'm going, I don't know how much I believe that. But they're saying they're also trying to get these victims to, now think about how much trans aggression there has been. Now, there may be fake trans aggression. They're promoting this trans aggression. We don't know what it is, like the Charlie Kirk assassin,
Yeah, I think
allegedly
that's all.
trans, right? But they're recruiting these people to do more of this stuff because they're a nihilistic group. So we don't know who is behind some of this, because again, it's chaos and destruction. So it could be anybody. There could be world powers involved in this. We don't know. But right now they're finding out that this is getting traction with teenagers who are getting recruited to then become themselves some of these perpetrators. And it just creates more online content because they film the acts. And when I was listening to some of the acts, so it takes a long time to listen to all the different types of acts that they're doing, but getting them to injure their own pets, I think has to be one of the most diabolical things you can get a child to do.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can reach through a computer and then get somebody to do this, or set themselves on fire, or to hurt an elderly family member, or to be involved in incest, you think, it's almost like the perfect storm of what the internet was always going to be on the evil end, right?
Yeah.
Not just the sex trafficking, but the self-harm, and then the recruitment. So I just think it's a terrible topic to have to address, but I think, is there any better use of social media than to magnify a message of warning of harm that we're oblivious to this, right? I know with a bunch of grandkids that I have, they're on different social networks, right? And they're constantly being monitored. What my daughter has told me is there's supposed to be parental controls. She says, but you try and do some of the parental controls on some of the newer handsets, the newer operating systems, like on Apple or whatever. And she says you get kicked out of the system. There's like a glitch, or you can't get it to work. And I said, can you get that fixed or report it? She says, we've been talking to other parents and they're all having the same problem. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting, right? Where they've said, okay, you can put this on your child's phone because now there's parental controls.
Right.
Oh, but lo and behold, those controls aren't working right. And now you think, well,
Yeah.
is that a coincidence?
No,
Is that
I don't believe in coincidences.
I don't think that is.
I'm not a
I
coincidence
absolutely-
theorist.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't. And so the
Mhm.
fact that now this has come, so it's what is the
Mhm.
other? I'm trying to think of the other game that they use, but a lot of these games that people feel are harmless, they have
Mhm.
these backdoor chat communities. But there's another thing they said that was really diabolical, and that was if you go onto something called Discord,
Mhm.
and then they have these invitations. Oh, are you fatherless? Are you struggling with identity? Are you wondering if you're trans? Join us here. But it leads right to a 764 recruitment group.
Mhm.
And so all these invitations of these kids to, reach out if you are questioning, but don't go to your parents, reach
Right.
out somewhere else. Wow, it has left them vulnerable to this. And you think,
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
saying parents are more dangerous than this whole universe, this entire universe of potential harm. It's just the most insidious message.
Yeah, you're right.
But I like the fact that Sean Ryan has said, no, we're going to go hardcore on this, and we're going to keep talking about it and keep talking about it. And the more they try and shut down people, shut down. He was talking about Sound of Freedom, and how he went to that premiere. I was at one of the private showings of that. And then they try and discredit the people involved, right?
Right.
Which for whatever reason, but the stuff is still happening and it's hard to look at. If you go to any now news website, Daily Mail, any of this, very little of it puts that on their front page.
Mhm.
It's celebrity stuff. It's royal stuff. It's Meghan Markle stuff.
Right.
It's TV show stuff.
Mhm.
This is the most important thing happening in our society in terms of the danger to children. And yet the media does not want to hype it. They'll say, oh, we covered it.
Mm.
Okay. But now everything else is just like a tidal wave taken over
Mhm.
the news, right? It's
Right.
not focused on this. So I thought, all right, I don't want to talk about this either. Nobody wants to have to talk about this.
Mhm.
But how many victims? Because if you take down a child, if you get a child to harm themselves, now the family is wrapped around the axle having to worry and take care of that child.
Right.
It's taken down a whole family, right?
Right.
And so that is our Achilles heel, isn't it?
Yeah. Sadly.
It really is. Yes, to target a child like this. So this 764, this was the origin. It was started by Bradley Cadenhead in Stevensville, Texas, who named it
Mhm.
after the first 3 digit of his local zip code. That's what
Okay.
764 stands for. And it was in the middle of the COVID pandemic. And
Mhm.
prosecutors are now saying that it's hard to really put into terms the actual scope of what we're dealing with. It's like
Mhm.
nothing we've ever dealt with before on the scale.
Right.
And they said as many as 10,000. Now, Ryan Montgomery said it's like 20,000 people are involved as key members of this. And he is the originator, Bradley Cadenhead, is now serving an 80-year prison sentence for child pornography. He started it when he was 15 years old. In Arizona, a 16-year-old named Baron Martin allegedly helped publish a grooming and manipulation guide instructing the members how to focus their efforts on young victims already struggling with mental health issues.
Mhm.
So Ryan said you go in and just like a HR training manual, it's 250 pages long. And it goes through all these dialogues of what to say to children, how to groom them, how to get them to
Mhm.
harm themselves. This is very sophisticated stuff. And we all have to have a talk with our kids about how this works, how not to be taken advantage of.
Mhm.
We just realize it's still out there. They're still hunting our children for chaos, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Chaos and control. Chaos and control. I was listening to the 4-hour interview with, I guess Tucker Carlson was also on Sean Ryan. But
Mhm.
Tucker had an interesting thing to say, because he said, well, what is at the basis of targeting our kids? He said, it's chaos. It's chaos and destruction of the innocent. And I thought, that's absolutely true. Defund the police. What was that really about? That was actually about chaos and
Mhm.
destruction. So it's sobering to realize you take your eyes off the bouncing ball, and
Mhm.
they just keep on. They keep on. And so we can't take our eyes off of it and pretend that if your children aren't involved, their friends may be involved or being groomed to be this way. And if it's not
Mhm.
those friends, it's the outer circle of friends. It's somebody they know.
Right.
And that's what's so disturbing about it. It's not that far away. So I appreciate all these podcasters who are saying, take it seriously and learn and take it
Mhm.
seriously, and don't let it be you or somebody your child
Right.
knows.
Right.
If it's one child in a school, if it's one child in a school district, if it's one child in a city, all the kids that will know
Mhm.
about it
Right.
and be affected, right?
Right.
When there's a suicide like that, they all know. So anyway, I don't know if you have come across this term or have heard about this group or what's happening with it.
I've heard little bits and pieces. I've never done a deep dive on it. So, and I know ABC isn't going to do a real deep dive. So, I mean, I'm glad that you're looking into it, because I've
Yeah.
been hearing about kids that have been committing suicide from this kind of situation. So, yeah, within like one day, they can get to a kid and make a kid feel like, um, like they have to do something to themselves, and it's
Mhm.
so sad.
Yeah. There's some examples in this article. And it's interesting because Ryan Montgomery played audio of
Mhm.
people being tortured. And, one of the torture sessions was having a girl cut off her ponytail. And he said before he played the audio, he goes, this is really sad. He goes, it's really sad.
Mhm.
She was devastated. She was heartbroken as she was doing it to herself.
Hmm.
And just sobbing. And you just think, wow, they have figured out how to hack into our kids' heads. But here's some examples. Barbaric group chats associated with 764. One man coerced a 13-year-old girl overseas to stomp on her hamster's head and then feed it to her dog.
Mhm.
He tried to pay someone $3,000 to kill the grandmother of another victim.
Mhm.
And he called himself the king of extortion. And he was like 17 years old. And you go, wow, it
Wow.
was just some gangly kid, the king of
Right.
extortion. How are you learning this? It's
Yeah.
because so much is available on the internet. And with AI, even more is going to become instantly accessible. You're not going to have to search for stuff.
Mhm.
It'll be just one question away.
Right.
And AI will do all the searching for you on all the websites. So that is kind of, it's kind of the dark side of the moon. Like, well, what's the light side of the moon? The light side of the moon is how you instill faith in children, that God loves them, and
Mhm.
who their identity
Right.
truly is, and how evil works
Mhm.
with regards to light. If you don't give them that template,
Mhm.
they are more vulnerable to this. Don't you
Right.
agree?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they better have be centered in God. They better have knowledge of God, and they better have that relationship. We just have so much to work on with our kids and grandkids.
Well, it's true. And, I was impressed with Ryan because he was,
Mhm.
they're called not an honest hacker, but an ethical hacker, where he
Mhm.
hacks into these groups. And he said, other people I work with, he said, I'll only work with them if they believe in God and they're true Christians. They have a track record,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
that is so important to what we're doing. It's
Right.
just so the key to having the power and the motivation. Because how else do you keep plugging, slogging through this vile stuff
Mhm.
without it just crushing your soul. It's because
Right.
your faith in God says there's a higher power who also sees this,
Mhm.
but needs you to help these innocent children. The innocence of the children is what makes them vulnerable, their naivete. So I was just really happy to magnify this message on social media. I thought it's a great
Mhm.
use of social media. And there's just so much more that we can do. One of the things we can do, can I just say this about Thanksgiving, is
Sure.
get kids outside on Thanksgiving. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
the football game that
Mhm.
hopefully doesn't injure an elderly relative who thinks they can still play
And even
flag
if it
football.
does, too bad.
Too bad. What's a twisted ankle on Thanksgiving,
I
right? Or a
mean,
sprained
you know what you
knee.
can do. Don't test your own limits. Oh my gosh.
I know, but get those kids outside, get them in the fresh
Mhm.
air, get
Mhm.
them moving their muscles, and
Mhm.
um, just really feeling
Yeah.
what's great about how it used to be with connecting
Mhm.
and game playing. Um,
Mhm.
my daughter sent me a picture of my grandkids playing a game that I had given them, and it was all about art, and it's about finding all these cards and all this art,
Mhm.
and knowing painters, and it was all the kids sitting around playing, and I just
Right.
thought, what a great thing. Did you play games growing up, like board
Yeah.
games?
Well, we we played a little blackjack too. We played a whole lot of blackjack, but we did it with like pennies or M&Ms. Anyway, but yeah, like yeah, I mean, we weren't like huge into games like some families are, but we did play. Yeah, there were games that we played, but we loved blackjack.
Oh my gosh, it's just so much fun, and
Mhm.
you see a side of people's personalities that you
Mhm.
don't get to see very often, especially like the
Yeah,
distant relatives and
right.
whomever. But just the hide and seek stuff outside, just running around the neighborhood.
Mhm.
Those are some of my best memories of childhood. We used to play a game called Man on the Run, where over a city block and with an alley in
Mhm.
between, you could hide anywhere.
Right.
Oh my gosh, we had the
Yes.
best time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is really, if you want to get your kids away from the iPad, parents have become addicted to giving their kids an iPad, giving their kids a
Mhm.
phone to keep them
Right.
quiet, right? It's the
Yeah.
parents. It is the
Yeah.
parents who become addicted to that. So
Mhm.
um, I'm guilty of that same mistake, but
Right.
doesn't matter. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter anyway. So
Mhm.
I'm really excited to hear about. I won't be with my grandkids this Thanksgiving, but I'm really excited to hear how much fun they have. And it's just this is the first time I've been away from my family on Thanksgiving. And I think, gosh, I've had the best memories of
Mm.
getting together with large extended families, like
Yeah.
aunts,
Good.
great uncles.
Mhm.
But that's because people tended to stay local, right? People
Mhm.
didn't move to California from the Midwest
Right.
until like the 40s or 50s. So anyway, I don't know how big your family dinner will be, but
Well, I mean, they're all pretty big because we both have, kind of nice sized families. So it's mine's much smaller than my husband's, but it's definitely going to be. It's always an event, and I'm always making a lot of rolls, and usually multiple turkeys. But I just love homemade food, and food is a love language at my house, and so I love being in the kitchen. I just love it. And I just love family around. So it's always an adventure. It's always fun. I don't know. I just love it.
I mean, there is drama. There can
Yeah.
be drama,
Yeah.
especially if somebody's had a little too much of the wine, which has
Yes.
happened at my family dinners. Grandma, to be
Yeah.
specific,
Right.
but
Right.
it's okay.
Grandma.
Grandma with the wine,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And so it's okay.
That's funny.
It's
Hmm.
her deal, but
Hmm.
anyway, I wanted
Hmm.
to bring that up because we hear how much heavy stuff there is surrounding our kids, and it's just
Hmm.
because they live in a modern version of society that we as children and adults never lived in.
Right.
We never had those tools as children. We cannot imagine. We were sucked into Saturday morning cartoons. That's as bad as it
Mhm.
got, right?
Right.
And we always say, oh, and we survived, absolutely. But
Mhm.
this is different. This is almost like
Yeah.
military grade, attacks
Mhm.
on the mental stability of our kids.
Yeah.
And then of
And
course
us.
and us and
Mhm.
us. So we just
Yeah.
have to, take it more seriously. I think
Mhm.
that's the key. Anytime I've messed up on something, I thought I didn't take that seriously
Mhm.
enough, whether it be my health, whether it be my safety in the car with,
Mhm.
texting and driving or talking
Mhm.
on the phone. I didn't take it seriously enough.
Right.
So I don't know if there's lessons you've learned that you figured I have to take it more seriously.
Always. Always. I mean, yeah. We just have a lot of work to do, and I know that people are exhausted, and I know that it's hard, and but we like I said with Melissa, we weren't put down here to just deal in a situation that we couldn't do something. So we, the total tyranny, I don't know if that really could exist if we're sent down to earth to fight for our free agency and our liberty, and so and our sanity. So I definitely think that that we have a lot to do, and that we have a lot of ways to do it. And I just think that we have to just get really we have to get our ingenuity back, and understand that we can create things, and that we can create ways to communicate. We can create ways. Your little home and your family, and even if you're empty nesters like I am, you create what's in that home. They still can't touch that. I mean, they can influence it with TV, and they can influence it with watching you through your TV, but they can't tell you how you're raising your kids yet, and what you're doing. So, and like Melissa said, what you're thinking, right? So there's a lot of things to be grateful for, and there's a lot of blessings, and there's a lot of things that we should be thinking about this holiday season. And I don't ever want to feel like you can't make a difference, because you can. And I always just want to feel like there's always room for the fight, because because since the dawn of time, there's always been hope and miracles. So there's always things that we can be grateful for sure.
Yeah, and you're 100% right. I think we're here to make the world better for other people and
Mhm.
enjoy the process, right?
Right.
And so often we can see how we can help somebody else or offer to help
Mhm.
somebody else. And I think that's what gives us a sense of value. Like, look what I can
Mhm.
contribute and make your life better. But
Mhm.
we don't live around the same 120 people like
Right.
the old days where your
Mhm.
village was 100 or
Mhm.
200 people. And so it's different now with more opportunities. But I just think if we can look back to things that were meaningful to us
Mhm.
growing up as children.
Mhm.
One of the things I did with my aunt, my dad's sister,
Mhm.
my dad had me when he was 20 years old. So his sister was only 15 when I was born. So by the time she was young when I was young, and we would make Christmas. She was a crafter, and she liked to make Christmas ornaments. So over Thanksgiving and through to Christmas, we
Mhm.
bought all sorts of little ornament kits. And I
Right.
remember making ornaments with like push pin sequins. I
Mhm.
still have those.
Really?
They're like 60 years old. They're some of my best memories.
Love it.
And the other thing we did was make model airplanes with my dad,
Mhm.
and go fly model airplanes and
Right.
do all sorts of stuff. So if we look back and have that kind of nostalgia, there's can be similar things that we can do with kids.
Mhm.
Even if kids think it's dumb, they may not have any exposure to stuff.
Mhm.
They may think stuff looks dumb because they just don't know what it is.
Right.
And so that's, you know,
Mhm.
that and animals and teaching kids to take care of animals. A lot of families have done away with animals because everybody
Mhm.
works, everyone's busy, everyone's in sports,
Right.
no time for animals, right?
Right.
Gosh. How much of your life did you spend just building an attachment to an animal? I know I did. So
Mhm.
anyway, that's what I'm grateful for this Thanksgiving is
Right.
all those fantastic, really a golden childhood in so many ways,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
right
I'm
down
with
to
you.
right down to Jiffy Pop popcorn on the stove. Do you remember the big Jiffy
I
Pop
used to
thing?
love that. Are you kidding? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
just
sure.
you just looked forward to it. It was
Right?
like fun.
Mhm.
So
I agree.
anyway,
I
I
so agree.
it is just the best. So any other favorite foods that you're making for Thanksgiving?
Well, I mean, of course, Dr. Pesta cracked me up yesterday because he was talking about the fact he hates Thanksgiving dinner. And I don't think my husband's like a huge fan of Thanksgiving dinner either. I, on the other hand, would eat it year round. I absolutely love Thanksgiving dinner. Everything about it, comfort food galore. But I make a coconut cream pie. But after you bake the crust, you put a layer of you on the stove. You do a little bit of pecans and brown sugar and butter. So you make like a pecan layer, just a thin layer of like a pecan caramel, put it on the bottom of the pie crust that's already cooked, and then add your coconut cream pie. And it is to die for. It's
Wow.
to die for. It's my grandma's recipe. And so my grandma's gravy recipe, my grandma's cranberry recipe, and all of the good things, right? So I love it all. And there isn't anything about it I don't love.
Oh,
I would eat it all the time if I could. So
I
yeah.
know when it's available in
Mhm,
restaurants, I
mhm.
order turkey and stuffing
I
and
know, I do
cranberry because
too.
the tastes are so perfect
Yeah.
together. But yeah, and the pumpkin pies. I laugh. The Costco pumpkin pies are so large, and my son can eat one by himself. He always says, get
Yeah.
whatever for everyone else, but one for me."
Right.
And so it's just such a great time. And there's, one of the things I appreciated listening to Tucker and Sean, Tucker's
Mhm.
like, with all the stuff going on, all the horrendous stuff, and everybody's,
Mhm.
complaining.
Mhm.
This still feels like one of the best times ever. And I have to say, I feel that way too. We're more aware than ever.
Yeah.
There seems to be more stuff than ever. But
Mhm.
this is such a great time to be alive,
It
to have
is.
the awareness, to
Mhm.
have the opportunities, to have the connections to learn. Anything you
Mhm.
want to learn, you can learn.
Sure.
It is
Sure.
such a great time. And there is nothing happening now that we have not been told was going to happen,
Yeah.
that we haven't been told and warned. This is going to happen. It's going to get worse. It's going to
Mhm.
get hard. Okay, here
Mhm.
we are.
Yeah.
But we still have our key relationships. We still have our,
I agree.
health. So it's such a great time to be alive. Do you feel that way?
I do too. I mean, honestly, I do. And I say that honestly because I want people to understand. I mean, we go down some pretty dark paths, and yeah, we've been lied to just about almost everything from the government, almost everything. And I know that can feel really heavy, but at the same time, like I said, there's always hope and miracles. Just look back through history. There's always been hope. There's always been things that have happened, especially to a moral people, and I think that's key. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't do this if there wasn't hope because I would just sit and cry in a corner. And why would I do a show, right? So there's always hope, always. And I've never not felt that. So I've always felt like I was supposed to do this. And then I've always felt like, not always, but the last 15 years, definitely, there's been a lot of things that have happened to me spiritually that say, nope, I need to do this. So for whatever reason, I know that there must be hope. There must be miracles coming that we're just going to be amazed by, because otherwise, why alert anybody to all of this if there wasn't something we could change about it or do, right? So, yeah.
No, absolutely. And I
Mhm.
think being in the fight like we
Mhm.
are
Mhm.
and pushing reality to people and
Mhm.
helping them see more clearly, it changes us.
Yeah.
It changes who we are. If we just sat back
Mhm.
and just watched it all unfold, we would
Mhm.
not be the people we are today.
Yeah.
And then I love to be able to tell my kids and my grandkids that, oh no, it is worth the
Mhm.
effort. It's all worth
Right.
the effort. I even tell them kids are worth the effort as
Yeah.
they struggle with toddlers and young
Yeah.
children. It's so worth the effort. So that's what I think you're saying is,
Mhm.
yeah, not only is there hope, but it also, the
Mhm.
process itself is worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm just really grateful. I'm grateful for that opportunity to, I learn with the idea that I'm going to share. So I don't,
Mhm.
obviously, I don't share everything I learn. I share a small fraction of what I've
Right.
learned over time, but I learn as if I'm going to share, and that makes me a much better learner. So if people did that,
Mhm.
read everything as if you're going to share,
Mhm.
then it changes how you read and perceive the material. It really does.
Right. No, I'm with
Yeah,
you.
you're far more invested in it. And
Mhm.
the other thing that I would tell people, and I say this to people all the time, is you can share something and say, I don't know if this is true. This might
Mhm.
only have a 10% likelihood of being true. So what the internet is a buzz about right now is Candace Owens. Candace Owens has said there's been a threat on her life. There's been an assassination team. Now
Mhm.
she's even said there's been $1.5 million paid. We have the account numbers. We know the individuals. We know the names.
Mhm.
Okay. Do I
Mhm.
know if that's
Yeah.
true? I don't know.
Right.
Uh, but I can give it a weight in my mind. That could be
Mhm.
20% true. That could be 80% true. I don't
Right.
know.
Well, it's like, we talked about this that came up yesterday, and I said, I don't know because I'm always skeptical of everybody in media that has a large audience because I just am. But because I front row seat, if you will. But it is interesting that she's giving now the receipts, the names. So if that's the case, then I'll just keep my eye on this because I hope this surprises me. I hope that there's somebody out there that's rogue or that clearly isn't part of the machinery. Let's hope, right? I really do hope for that. So there's that. And also, by the way, I just wanted to clear up something from yesterday. I had somebody ask me if, because of my reaction to the way that we deal with America and Thanksgiving, and we're the only country that seems to get a lot of heat for coming and engaging in wars that delivered this country to us, okay, and especially with the Native Americans. And the reason I said what I said yesterday, I basically said, hey, every country has done this, and even the Native Americans to other Native Americans have fought over land since the beginning of time. So the reason I was saying that wasn't because I'm okay with a genocide or killing of people. It was because it was so hypocritical in the way that America's the only one to blame for it, and everyone else doesn't seem to enter into the conversation when we're talking about fighting wars for land. Okay. And so it was very much a comment just about the hypocrisy that America gets, and no one else seems to get anything directed at them for going to war to either keep their land or getting run over by an enemy and losing their land. So it isn't because I just love the fact that people are being murdered or killed or whatever over it. It's because of the hypocrisy. So I just want to clear that up. Sometimes these things, I always think everyone knows what I'm talking about when I'm saying things, but maybe not. So there you go. Anyway.
No, yes, and the taking of slaves that was so common
Yeah.
between the tribes because it made sense to them. I wanted to share something related to the country and Thanksgiving that I didn't know before. So
Okay.
it's not directly about Thanksgiving, but it's about it was John Kiriakou, who you've had on
Yeah.
before,
Uh-huh.
who shared this, that the fifth auditor of the United States was a man named Stephen Pleasanton.
Okay.
And he was working in Washington during the War of 1812. Well,
Mhm.
they were burning the city at one point, and the president fled,
Mhm.
and his wife fled in a different direction. But he thought,
Mhm.
who is saving the documents
Mhm.
of the of America? And he went up and saved in 1814 an early copy of the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights from being burned by British forces that were burning everything in sight. And he went and hid those in a barn for 3 years. He wrapped them in linen and hid them in the roof of a barn for 3 years. And those were our founding documents, the Articles of Confederation, the United States Constitution, the treaties, laws, and correspondence of all the departments created since 1789. He had them placed in sacks and carried to a grist mill 2 miles beyond Georgetown.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up moving those another 35 miles to Leesburg, where they were stored in an empty stone house. And the British arrived and burned many buildings in the city, but did not burn those documents. And, for some reason, we never have really heard about him. And yet, how much we appreciate now. If you've ever seen an official, the real copy in Independence Hall, the Declaration of Independence is a very impressive looking document, and with all the signatures. And I just thought, wow, there's so much that we don't understand, that we lack gratitude for, because we've never heard the stories. We've never been taught. And so I just love that story. When I heard it the other day, I thought, that's amazing. See, individuals.
Yeah, a lot of miracles and a lot of individuals doing their thing. So
Absolutely.
there's always hope. There's always hope. But I so appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. Thanks, Susan.
Of course, always
You
my
bet,
pleasure.
You
Kate.
bet. And I'm glad to know that you don't hate Thanksgiving dinners.
No. Love it. I'm with
leftovers
you.
are my most favorite thing. I mean,
Oh,
I
my
love
gosh.
leftovers. So
Absolutely.
thanks again. And of course, everybody enjoy your Thanksgiving and enjoy your time with family, because thanks, Susan, because it's, it's what we have. We have our people. We have to make sure that those relationships are there. And it's the most important thing. It's just really all you got. So the only thing I think that you take with you anyway, be faithful, be fearless. On the Kate Daly Show page on Facebook, I listed some things like a candle that says smells like a conspiracy, smells like and also one that says smells like a cover up. Also hoodies. That say the lies are getting so bad, I almost feel insulted. So there's lots of hoodies and things like that you can get at the store at katetalks.myshopify.com. Also the cancer ebook, get that. And then, of course, I just wanted to, again, wish you, make sure that you go to cardiomiracle.com/Kate. My Pillow has a bunch of offers right now. They're huge. They have a big sale going on. Same with allfamilypharmacy.com/Kate. And there's so many things there that you can get in bulk right now. Please do that. Have it under your roof. I highly recommend that. And then, of course, what else? Oh, on the remineralization of teeth, there's a kid product. And so this would be a good gift for your married kids. There is a kid remineralization toothpaste out now. And boy, the whitener, that is a great gift to get for somebody older. The whitener is amazing. And it's like this little tub. It is amazing. It's a remineralization whitener. It's fantastic. And I encourage you to go to the website, katedalyradio.com, katedalyradio.com, and get that. And then, of course, there's Christmas gifts at the store on katetalks.myshopify.com. And there's just so many things there, too. So go check them out. Candles and, the tumblers that you keep in the car to keep your, the thermal tumblers. There's some really good ones, like if it sounds too scripted, it probably is, things like that. So there's lots of really good ones there, too. And hit up the sponsors. They're all doing awesome sales. So hit katedalyradio.com. It'll give you links to everything. And everyone have a great holiday. I'll be back Monday, and really appreciate you. Be faithful, be fearless.